everyone, welcome back to Voidheart Studios, and as you can see by the fact I look bright again, I have a new light. It's like less than double, but it's still like a lot bigger than my old ring light. And it even comes with a remote. So I can toggle the brightness, I can go to color mode, and now my light is red, and I can go green, and I can go blue, I can go pink, and I can go back to red, and then, yeah, and I can turn up. Back to white mode, and it's really bright. I can get the color back to where I want it, and the brightness, the temp back to where I want it. Turn the brightness back down to where I want it. But yeah, it's a really cool light. It is it's just a Vivitar ring light I got for 50 bucks at Walmart, and it's pretty cool. But the light is not what I am reviewing today. As you saw in the thumbnail, it is the Satakieli Carbine by Leedle Dynamics. The Satakieli is a 3D printed blaster designed by Leedle Dynamics, and it is a mag and grip elastic band powered blaster that is normally rear ring pull prime, but this is a carbine version. And it's got a stock now, and it is pump action. So yeah, let's get into the overview. Starting up at the front, there is no N-strike barrel lug. There's no real porting for anything, though I wish there was some sort of rifling on this blaster. That would be really, really neat. I mean, it doesn't shoot hard enough to really probably warrant the necessity of a scar barrel or anything, but it would be cool though. Going back to the back, there is the priming block and the pump action grip, which underneath this foregrip is a bit of Picatinny rail, so you can put on whatever grips you want. This one's 3D printed, and it's basically like a stubby foregrip. I have screws in it just because the pin kept falling out. And I also have a screw back here to connect the stock, because that way if I don't want to use the stock, I can just take the screw out and the nut off and pull out the stock. And then it's just a nice little compact pump action pistol. And then I can then throw the stock back on and do that. This is not how it comes by default. By default, it has a pin back here. I just removed it. This blaster is almost entirely hardwareless. It's literally entirely 3D printed parts, except for the cord used to power it, which is like $5 for like 25 feet of it. So, yeah. Anyways, back to pump grip. So the pump grip is here. There's also a rail on top of the slide. So I guess if you wanted to put like a charging handle up here type thing, you can do that instead. Though I wouldn't recommend doing it with your primary hand because it does get a little tight with how small this blaster is. Going back, there is the trigger and the grip, which feels nice. It's a bit chunky because it's mag and grip, but since it's for Nightingale mags, it's just pretty like slim in profile overall. And of course the trigger, like all of Leedle's other stringers, doesn't use any sort of string or anything to keep it in the down position. So yeah, it'll pull back when you do that. But the main cord will actually hold it down in its normal position, so you won't accidentally fire it just by tipping it back. And yeah, of course, to fire you pull the trigger. But yeah, it's pretty fast because the prime weight is like literally nothing. You can also do that. I don't recommend doing that. Don't know why I did that. But anyways, yeah. Going down the bottom of the grip here, you have the mag release. It actually hooks in to the mag notch on the back of Nightingale mags. Normally, mag releases hook into this hole on the side, but this one actually uses this back notch, which most Nightingale mags have. So this is also compatible with Venom Pro and Brute Pro mags from Dart Zone. Though I wouldn't recommend using Brute mags in something that's meant to be like a Carbine primary. This is not compatible with Elk mags unless you find a jig to be able to cut that notch into Elk mags. It's the same thing with the Rush, with my Rush at least. Yeah, of course, going back here we have a stock, and it's a bit on the short side, but with this being such a compact blaster, I don't see that as being a bad thing. What I do find annoying, and why I came up with that solution to remove the stock, is when you rest your cheek in a normal place and you start priming it, that slide often comes back to bite you. I have gotten bitten by the slide so many times with this blaster in my initial testing that I shoved the pin out and just took the stock off. Because, like, you don't really need that stabilization in a stringer because you're not pulling back a heavy spring. Because, like, with a Springer, if you don't have support, the blaster's going to jerk around more unless you, like, really push on it. By the way, why are you not... There you go. Unless you, like, really push forward on it and really grip it. Maybe this Springer wasn't the best to show you, because it is a chunky boy just by itself. Oh. But, yeah. Springers, if they don't have support, they can jostle around on you a bit, especially when you're, like, slam firing or going really fast. But these... It does that sometimes too. Sometimes it'll just slip. But I don't know if that's just because this might be worn in or what. But yeah. And that is really all the overview that needs to be done on the Satakieli Carbine. Now let's go outside and play with it. Well, we are out on the range with the Satakieli Carbine, and yeah, we're still recovering from the ice storm last week, but I'm still gonna bring you the content, despite wearing a short-sleeved hoodie in 33-degree weather at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Anyways, first up we got Worker Gen 3 standard weight darts. That's us. Begin. Gotta get my point of aim here. Ow. Shit. It was all over the place. Granted, I've done most of my testing with this thing indoors, just because I thought the FPS was low enough I didn't really need to bring it outside. I'm surprised the accuracy is as bad as it is. I don't know if it's the cold. I don't think we have a slight wind or anything. Yeah, no wind, but who knows. But now we've got nitro shot darts. Let's go a little faster this time.
we go. But yeah, that's a relatively simple firing demo. I wanted to do a shorter firing demo since, again, it's really damn cold out here and I just gotta collect all my darts without falling and busting my ass on the ice. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shorter one today, but we will get back to your regularly scheduled long firing demos once I've got, well, blaster's more intricate than this, maybe. Alright, let's go back in and talk about it.
Alright, we are back inside with the Satakieli carbine. Let's talk about it. So, starting out, I put this blaster up on my chronograph, and I achieved an average velocity of about 91 FPS, which isn't bad. It's not in line with a lot of other blasters of this proportion. Like, my Venom hits 130 FPS, my Brute hits 130 FPS, my Volcanic is 170 FPS, but it's a stringer. It uses elastic cord and not a very large gauge of it. And it's also not powering a plunger. Air power is going to be more efficient than, essentially, a crossbow. That's why, in terms of, like, real steel ballistics, bullets fired from combusted gas, or fired from combusted powder and, you know, gas from that combustion, go a lot faster than arrows propelled by a crossbow. Because elastic bow arms or elastic cords are not going to fire a projectile as fast as compressed gas. And that's why, you know, that's why Springers are so strong even in Nerf. They're like the strongest blasters. Springers and HPA are like the strongest thing. But a good thing with Stringers is they are very, very quiet compared to other blasters. Like, for example, let me get my... No, not the Valentine brownies. Let me get my solo here and demonstrate. So, this is a 110 FPS Springer. Yes, Springer. Put a dart in there, pull that, and that was loud. And now, I've got the Satakieli, which is a 90 FPS Stringer, and I also missed my target, but it's quieter. It's a lot quieter because you just have that sound of the string hitting the plastic. You don't have the pop of a released spring and big plastic on plastic contact and the burst of air. Stringers are quiet. Stringers are very quiet. And that is their advantage, is they are quieter than Springers. There are being developed some Stringers that use those bands to power plunger systems, and those will get loud, but most of the time, if it's a, you know, a crossbow style Stringer like this, it's going to be pretty quiet. And that's really one of the great benefits of Stringers, is stealth. And they're also really good because you get that half-dart performance in a blaster that can be used for HVZ, because they don't hit very hard. Most Stringers that function in this manner don't hit much over 100 FPS. Most HVZs cap it at 100 to 130. So yeah, it's really easy to do this. And also, despite being printed blasters, these are really accessible to build, even for people that, you know, maybe don't own 3D printers and want to build them, or people that don't own 3D printers and don't like building. Because, I mean, even if you, like, go to your local, like, college library that has a free-use 3D printers, or, you know, you pay to use 3D printers, these things have no hardware. You literally, you build this with 3D printed pins and 3D printed parts. These screws in this blaster, I added those because I wanted the stock to be removable and I wanted the grip to stay on better. And that's really good. And I've heard that they're also, a lot of the, especially the smaller stuff, is pretty easy to build. But yeah, as I've also said in my nail clipper review, if you're a beginner looking for a 3D printed blaster, get something Leedle, because it's cheap, it's easy, and it works. And, you know, again, for the people that don't print but also don't like to build, like myself, you can buy them often for really cheap. On Etsy, Leedle blasters go for maybe $20 to $50. I just ordered a Lanka 2 for $22 plus shipping, but that's whatever. And that will be reviewed on the channel soon as well. But the fact of the matter is, Leedle stuff is cool, Leedle stuff is cheap, Leedle stuff works. I will always endorse Leedle Dynamics. It's just really nice, fun, cheap, simple blasters. And they're great. Anyways, rant over. I am not sponsored or licensed in any way. I got this blaster for free from somebody in my group. But I still love Leedle stuff. But yeah. That's really all I have to say in this video. If you did enjoy, then please do leave a like and subscribe, and all the other algorithmic jargon that I'm sure you know at this point helps channels grow and thrive and all that. And comment your favorite Leedle Dynamics blaster. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye!